June 9th, 1912. Villisca, Iowa. A quiet Midwestern town where everyone knew their neighbors. Church on Sunday. Front doors unlocked. Nothing ever happened here, until 8 people were found brutally murdered inside their own home. More than a century later, the Villisca Axe Murders mystery remains one of the most disturbing unsolved murder cases in American history. This is the story of the Villisca Axe Murders, a chilling Iowa murder case that still haunts the United States. On June 8th, 1912, the Moore family attended a church event. Josiah Moore, his wife Sarah, their 4 children, Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul. 2 young sisters, Ina and Lena Stillinger, were invited to spend the night. It was ordinary, peaceful, safe. At around 10 p.m., the family returned home and went to bed. No arguments, no threats, no warning signs. That was the last time anyone saw them alive. Sometime after midnight, an unknown killer entered the Moore house. There were no signs of forced entry, which raises a terrifying possibility. The murderer may have been inside the house already, or he entered quietly, unnoticed, while the family slept. One by one, he used an axe, taken from the Moore family's own shed, to bludgeon all 8 victims to death. The parents were likely killed first, then the children, then the 2 young guests upstairs. The attack was brutal. Repeated blows. Overkill. Silence. No neighbors reported screams. This wasn't a chaotic crime. It was controlled, calculated, deliberate. What makes the Villisca Axe murders even more disturbing is what happened after the killings. Evidence suggests the killer stayed in the house for hours. He covered mirrors with cloth. He covered windows. He placed clothing over some victims' faces. He removed a slab of bacon from the icebox. He ate food. He washed up in a basin. Imagine that. An unsolved serial killer calmly moving around a house filled with victims before walking away into the night. That psychological detail is what makes this American true crime case so deeply chilling. By late morning, neighbors noticed something was wrong. The Moore family hadn't come outside. A neighbor entered the home. What she found shocked the entire town. 8 bodies, bludgeoned beyond recognition. Within hours, the house was filled with townspeople. Over 100 people walked through the crime scene. In 1912, forensic science was primitive. Fingerprints weren't properly preserved. Footprints were trampled. Potential evidence was destroyed. The investigation into the Villisca Axe Murders mystery began in chaos. And that mistake may have cost investigators their only chance to solve this unsolved mystery in the USA. Over the years, several suspects emerged. One of the most famous was Reverend George Kelly. He was a traveling preacher who had been in town that night. Kelly had a history of mental instability and disturbing behavior. He eventually confessed to the murders, but his confession was inconsistent. He later recanted. There was no physical evidence tying him to the 1912 Axe murders. Another suspect was Frank Jones, a wealthy businessman who allegedly had business disputes with Josiah Moore. Some believed it was revenge. Others believed the killer was a traveling, unsolved serial killer responsible for similar family axe murders across the Midwest. Between 1911 and 1912, multiple families in different states were killed in nearly identical ways. Late at night, the entire household was murdered. Axe used. No robbery. No clear motive. Was Villisca part of a larger killing spree? Or was this a personal attack hidden behind coincidence? More than 100 years later, the Villisca Axe Murders mystery remains unsolved. 2 of the children were found with defensive wounds. That means at least one of them woke up. At least one child saw the attacker standing in the darkness. inside their bedroom, inside their home. Imagine the silence of that room. The creaking floorboards. A shadow with an axe. That moment is why this unsolved murder case still terrifies historians and true crime experts today. The Villisca house still stands in Iowa. Today, it is considered one of the most infamous crime scenes in American true crime history. Visitors claim to hear footsteps, children's voices, doors opening. Whether paranormal or psychological, the weight of what happened inside that house is undeniable. 8 people, killed in their sleep. No arrest, no conviction, no justice. The Villisca Axe murders remain unsolved for several key reasons. Contaminated crime scene, poor forensic technology in 1912, false confessions, weak evidence, competing suspects. But beyond investigation failure, this case strikes at something deeper. It attacks the idea of safety. The family home, once considered sacred, became a place of horror. This wasn't random street violence. This wasn't a robbery. It was intimate, silent, personal. That's why the Villisca Axe Murders mystery remains one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries in the USA. More than 100 years have passed since the 1912 axe murders in Iowa. Generations have grown up without answers. Who walked into that house that night? Was it someone the family knew? A drifter? A calculated unsolved serial killer moving town to town? Or someone who blended perfectly into the community? The killer vanished. No fingerprints. No DNA. No arrest. Just an axe left behind. And a house filled with silence. In small-town America, in 1912, people believed their doors protected them. The Villisca Axe murders shattered that illusion forever. And that is why this unsolved American murder case continues to haunt history. This is Dark Files USA, and because sometimes the darkest crimes happen where we feel the safest.